See, I need you running my space, but I need it, baby, I'm late, but I still can check.
Hi boss babes, welcome back to my channel. It's your favorite realtor here. My name is Rudzie Mulovhedzi. For those that are returning, welcome back, and for those that are new here, you welcome boss babe. Please subscribe, like and comment to join the family. So guys, I am back with another video again. So in today's video I want to take you guys through steps of preparing yourself to buy a home. If I look down, please forgive me, simply because I want to make this video as informative as possible, and I have written down some few notes on my iPad for you guys. So let me not waste your time. Please go grab your drink and let's have a chat. Let's prep you for your home buying process for next year. Is that cool? Sure. So let's get a drink and then let's start. So my honey, if you want to buy a house in South Africa, these are the few steps that I want you to take into consideration. The reason why I want you to take these steps into consideration is because we're trying to make sure that you are fully ready for this and there is no any hindrances in your journey. So the first step that I always talk about, I talk about this in most of my videos, in my vlogs and everything else, is that you need to get pre-approved. Get a pre-approval. Now, let me tell you why you need to get a pre-approval. The reason why you have to get a pre-approval is that when we do a pre-approval, we check your finances thoroughly. So we check the income that you have, we check your deduction, we check your spending, we check your money habits, and then with that, we are able to give you a budget for your home. So we will then tell you how much you then qualify for. Remember, when we give you a pre-approval certificate, we're also gonna give you, so we're gonna give you how much you are pre-approved for. For example, we'll say you can buy a house for 1 million rand, and then on that 1 million rand budget that we have gave you, we'll also break down how much will be the transfer cost and how much will be the bond cost. This is for you to be able to prep your for yourself. So number two, it's save up for your transfer and bond cost. The transferring and bond costs are the cost that you're going to need for the attorneys to transfer one property from one owner to the other. Please note, the transfer cost only applies to when you are buying a property that has been pre-owned by another seller. For example, if I'm selling my property, I bought the properties under my name. So when you buy the property that is mine, you're gonna have to pay the transferring attorney to transfer that property from me to you. So this is the cost that is incurred by a buyer. Bond cost is the cost that you incur, that you pay bond attorneys in order for them to get your bond. However, the good news in South Africa is that if you are a first-time home buyer, you do stand a chance of getting 50% off your bond cost. So for example, if your bond cost is 30,000 rand, you have high chances of getting to pay 15,000 rand instead of 30,000 rand. So please don't sleep on that one. Okay, now we've done saving up for transferring costs, right? Number three, now the fun begins. We start viewing properties. I want to say this out loud. Please view properties on your budget. Stick to your budget. Remember the pre-approval certificate that you got when I said pre-approval? Stick to that. If the bank said 1 million, I urge you, go 900 and below. The reason why I'm saying that is that when you buy a property that is on the highest level or highest price of what you've been pre-approved for, if it happens that the interest rate goes high, you will struggle to pay your bond, and that is when you're gonna call us to sell your property in less than 5 years of you purchasing that property. So when we say buy below your pre-approval, it's for you to have means that if the interest goes up and your bond repayment goes up, you don't have to feel that stretch. You don't have to feel like, oh, now I can't afford my property, I need to sell it right away. So please buy in your budget. If I pre-approve you for 1 million and I see you inquiring on a 1.3 property, boss babes, let's agree today. What do we do to those people? We chop their head off because clearly they don't listen. So go and view properties that are below your budget. I always advise my buyer to go 100 to 150 below the pre-approval amount. That's what I always advise my buyers. So we agree that when we're viewing below our budget, right? We good. So let's pass on that. But now when we're viewing, please enjoy the viewing process. Make sure that you have highlighted your list of things that it's a deal breaker and things that are not. Be realistic, something we always have to give. But I think we will have a separate video about the things that you need to look out for when you're doing property viewings. However, I do know that you guys are now protected because we are forced to have a mandatory disclosure. This is a form that is signed by the agent and the seller to disclose any defects that are in the property. So while you're viewing that, before you put an offer, which is the next step that I'm gonna come to, yeah, let's just go to number 4 so that I can explain the mandatory disclosure. So number 4, an offer to purchase. So what is an offer to purchase? An offer to purchase is a document that a purchaser and a seller sign as a legal document to proceed with the purchase of the sale of the property. Sorry. An offer to purchase is only binding to a purchaser once the seller have accepted the offer. So when the seller have accepted the offer, you can't pull out, honey. You need to stick to what you got yourself into. So you only sign an offer to purchase when you are thoroughly sure that you want to buy that property, because once the seller put their signature to accept, then you are bound to go and apply for a bond. The only time the offer to purchase will lapse is when you haven't got a bond at a date that you were given, or you just didn't get a bond totally because you couldn't afford it. Then that is when we say the suspensive condition of that offer to purchase have not been met. Then you are out of the deal. If you do anything to jeopardize that offer to purchase so that you don't get a bond, you can get a fine, you can get sued. So this is an important document that I urge you, my lovies, before you sign it, know that you really want the property and you have inquired about everything else that you want. So don't play like, oh, let me just put in and see. Nah, it doesn't work like that. They can go litigation against you and get their commission from you. The seller can claim damages from you. The attorneys can claim their cost from you. So you only engage on an offer to purchase when you know that you love the property. So now, what are the things that you need to pay attention to when you put down your offer? Obviously read through the document. The offer to purchase is a standard document, so there's nothing much that I can say look out for. There's nothing that can bind you except the fact that when the seller accepts you and then have to apply for the bond, maybe look out. I know that legally they can't bind you if you don't get a bond or the bank rejects you. We can't say, oh, now you need to come up with 1 million rand. Nah, it doesn't work like that. So then what I was saying on the previous point is that the offer to purchase must be accompanied by a document that we call the mandatory disclosure. The mandatory disclosure, I'm afraid, to very important. The reason for a mandatory disclosure is that on that form, the seller will have to disclose if their house has any defects. By defects, I don't mean, oh, the door is not working. No, I mean structural defects, plumbing defects, roof leaks, stuff like that. Like if maybe the drainage has problems, all those things are very important because they can cost you an arm and a leg if you don't pay attention to those things. So you need that disclosure form where the seller tells you what in that house particularly needs your attention, so that if you buy that house and then 3 months down the line of moving, you see there's a roof leak, it's easier for us to pull that document and hold the seller accountable. So this document will be signed by the seller, by the agent, and by you. You are the last person to sign it. Don't sign it when it's empty. They shouldn't send it to you unmarked and say sign it. No. It must be filled in, signed by the seller, signed by the agent, and then signed by you to consent that what they wrote there is what you are accepting, right? So we're still good. Number 5. Now we have put an offer on the house. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house. We love it. It has a spacious garden, a jacuzzi, and whatnot. So now the next step will be to apply for a bond. But because my boss babe has already been approved, this is not gonna be a train smash for them. right? So the application for a bond, obviously you're gonna go back to the same person that pre-approves you. In our case, it's gonna be us, and then we do send your documents to the bank for a bond approval together with the offer to purchase. So now we apply for a bond, we get a bond grant, we sign. And what you then need to look out for when you sign in a bond grant is that the bank will suggest different insurance, because you need an insurance. I'm gonna also have a separate video right after this one that talks about the cost that you need to bear in mind when you are preparing for home ownership. So watch out for that video. So watch out for the insurance. You don't necessarily have to take the bank's insurance. You can ask your bond originator or anyone else to refer to you if theirs is too high, because this is gonna come on your monthly installment. So we sign a bond grant. After we sign a bond grant, then we wait for registration. Your job is now done here. However, it's not completely done, because the number last step is you then paying the transfer cost, which you could have paid. You can pay immediately after getting a bond. Then you can pay your transfer cost, you can pay your bond cost. I've already told you the first time homeowners in South Africa do stand a chance of getting a 50% off their bond cost. With the transfer cost, you do, on our side, we sometimes do negotiate with the transferring attorneys to be lenient with you guys, so we can get you like 10-20% off your transfer cost. But with the bond cost, the bank will impose it on the bond attorneys. And number 7, get ready for your new home. Congratulations that you watched until this far. So if you need more tips of how to prep yourself to buy a home, or you have any questions, please leave it on the comment. Guys, I've seen a lot of you come to my inbox. It doesn't help, because then there's a repetition of questions. Can you please leave it on the comment so that I can answer on the comment, so that whoever has the similar question, they can also see the answer. I love you so much, my boss babe, and if you have watched until here, please leave me a heart, and I'm gonna see you on the next video. Do not forget to subscribe, to like, to share my videos, and to comment. And I love you. Ciao.